Chicago is on fire, and it's not because of the deep dish. A stone-cold starter just lost a spot on the offensive line. Our feature back is getting absolutely exposed by some of the most brutal stats you'll ever see. And the full team evaluation on the bye week is showing cracks so deep. You're gonna lose sleep tonight. We're talking seismic changes nobody saw coming, numbers that destroy hope, and truths that polls wishes you'd never find out. I guarantee that after this video, you're gonna see this team in a totally different light. Subscribe now because tomorrow, this is gonna get even crazier. The Bears' world has just been turned upside down, and they didn't even have to wait for next week to feel it. Braxton Jones, the left tackle who was supposedly untouchable, supposedly the cornerstone of this rebuilt offensive line, just lost his job. I gotta ask, did you see this coming? Because I don't think anybody in Chicago did. Let me lay out the full picture of what's going on here. Braxton Jones isn't just some guy. He's been the starting left tackle for more than 2 seasons now. This is the guy who's supposed to protect Caleb Williams' blind side, the supposed future of this whole franchise. And now, after just 4 games, Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles are looking at an undrafted tackle, Theo Benedette, and saying he's better than what we've got. You want to know what's really wild about all this? Jones just came back from surgery. The dude hasn't even had enough time to fully heal, and they're already sending him to the bench. Let me tell you this, when a team loses patience this fast with a starter, it means what they're seeing on the field is absolutely unacceptable. Now let's dig into the numbers, because this is where things get truly ugly. The Bears' offensive line is ranked in the bottom 10 for sacks allowed going into Sunday. Bottom 10 across the entire league. But wait, there's more. Caleb Williams has been pressured a whopping 20 times when dropping back to pass. The most in the whole NFL, 20 times in 4 games, folks. That's not protection. That's straight up putting your number 1 pick in harm's way every single week. And you want to know the stat that really blows my mind? The average NFL running back gets 2.5 yards before first contact. D'Andre Swift, our lead back, is getting just 2 yards before contact, ranking him all the way at 28 among all backs in the league. That means this offensive line isn't opening up lanes. They're not creating space. They're not doing anything a line is supposed to do in Ben Johnson's system. I really think this exposes something much bigger than just one left tackle who isn't playing well. It shows maybe, just maybe, Ryan Poles did not invest enough in this line during the offseason. They brought in Ben Johnson, an offensive coordinator who had one of the best lines in the league up in Detroit, and gave him this. That's like buying a Ferrari and filling it up with the cheapest gas you can find. So I ask you, how much longer can Caleb Williams survive being pressured more than any quarterback in the league? Because I'm telling you, rookie quarterbacks don't develop when they're running for their lives on every single play. Just look at what happened to Justin Fields right here in Chicago. Same exact problem, different year, different players, and here's what really has me worried. Ben Johnson has a whole reputation built on ground and pound offenses. His whole system depends on running the ball effectively to open things up in the air. But if this line can't open up holes in the run game, and it can't protect the quarterback either, then the whole system falls apart like a house of cards. Theo Benedette better be the real answer. Because if not, we're looking at the start of another wasted season in Chicago. And after everything this city has poured emotionally into this team, after believing we finally had the right pieces in place, this news just feels like a punch straight to the gut. If you thought the offensive line issue was bad, just wait for this. Because the controversy around the Colston Loveland pick is blowing up in Chicago. And the numbers do not lie. Ryan Poles had the shot to grab Tyler Warren out of Penn State in the draft, a tight end who is now tearing up the league, but took Loveland instead, citing the system fit. Let me ask you, what system are we talking about when Warren is putting up historic numbers, and Loveland has barely touched the field? Let's jump right into the numbers, because this is where it gets brutal for the front office. Tyler Warren, now playing for the Colts, already has 23 catches for 307 yards, and a touchdown in just 4 games. Colston Loveland has 3 catches, 43 yards, 0 touchdowns. That's a difference of 20 catches and 264 yards. 20 catches, folks, in just 4 games, and here's what's really making my blood boil. Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson KNEW. They KNEW. Loveland was coming off a shoulder surgery that basically wiped out his entire offseason. They knew it and still took him with the 10th overall pick. The 10th pick in the draft, where only 4 tight ends have gone in the top 10 since the last time the Bears went to the Super Bowl. I really believe this was Ben Johnson's pick more than Poles. When Poles got pressed on draft night about why Loveland and not Warren, his answer sounded scripted. Said Loveland fit better with the personnel we have on the roster. I gotta ask, is fitting better really worth losing 20 catches and 206 to 4 yards of instant production? Here's the football nerd part a lot of people are missing. Warren is 6'6", 256 pounds, literally the same size as Cole Kmet, our starting tight end who plays the classic Y inline tight end role. Loveland is 6'6", but only 241 pounds. Johnson wanted a move tight end, a guy who could create mismatches downfield. And technically, that makes sense on paper, but check out how these guys are actually being used. Warren's average target depth with the Colts is just a little over 6 yards. Loveland, before his injury, was being targeted an insane 14 yards downfield, according to StatHead and Pro Football Reference. The Bears are using him further out. So the question is, couldn't Warren also catch passes down the field? Because I'm telling you, a receiver who can do both short and deep is way more valuable than someone who is just a one-trick pony. And here's the stat that really exposes this pick. Warren has a passer rating against him in coverage that's way lower than most tight ends. The dude isn't just catching balls, he's consistently winning his matchups. Meanwhile, Loveland has spent most of his time on the sidelines with injuries. The most unfair part here isn't even for the fans. It's for Loveland himself. The kid hasn't had a fair shot to show what he can do. Came back from surgery, lost the whole offseason, and now has a hip injury. But that's exactly why Poles and Johnson deserve this criticism. They knew about the injuries, and still picked him that high. So how many times are we gonna watch this front office make draft picks based on system fit, just to see other teams get way more production from guys who were available? Because this just painfully reminds me of when we passed on Patrick Mahomes, because Mitchell Trubisky supposedly fit our system better. And while Colts fans are celebrating every Warren catch, we're just here waiting for Loveland to get healthy again. This is exactly the kind of decision that can define an entire era, and right now, it is not looking good for Poles or Johnson. But none of that compares to what's coming right now, because the full Bears midseason report just dropped and the numbers are absolutely devastating. We're talking about an evaluation that exposes every weakness, every shortcoming, and every lie we've been telling ourselves about this team. And I'm telling you, after reading this report, I get why we are where we are, sitting at 500 and fighting for our lives. Let's get to the heart of the matter, the run game. The Bears are ranked 24th in rushing yards per game at just over 102. They're 25th in yards per carry with a pathetic 3.8 average. But hold on, because it gets even worse. DeAndre Swift, who was supposed to be the answer, is averaging a career-worst 3.3 yards per carry. That's not NFL-level running. That's high school stuff. You want to know the stat that really kills me? Swift has only broken one tackle all season, just one. He's only forced one missed tackle, and ranks 25th in yards after contact with just 87. For a guy getting paid starter money, those are numbers you see from the third string back, bottom of the depth chart. Honestly, I think this confirms what a lot of us already suspected. DeAndre Swift is not a top-tier back. He's a good change-of-pace guy. Absolutely elite in pass protection. He's actually ranked number 1 in the NFL among backs for protecting the quarterback, but he's just not the type you build an offense around. And Ben Johnson knows it better than anyone. Since he let Swift walk in Detroit, let's flip it over, because this is where things get even messier. The defense is giving up 6.1 yards per carry, 6 yards. How does a Chicago Bears defense, a franchise built on tough defense, allow that? Monsters of the Midway, and opponents are running all over us like we're just a practice squad. Andrew Billings, Montez Sweat, Gervin Dexter, Grady Jarrett, Deo Odeyingbo. These guys all need to get off their blocks and attack upfield way faster. The report says we rank 14th in pressure rate, even though we blitz less than nearly anyone else at 29th. That means they're getting some pressure without blitzing, which is fine. But they only have 5 total sacks all year. 5. That won't win anything in the NFL. But here's what's really got me sweating about the immediate future. Noah Sewell's been playing weak side linebacker out of necessity, and the midseason report says he has a passer rating against him in coverage of 134.1, allowing nearly 90% completions. Those are catastrophic coverage numbers for a linebacker. It's not Sewell's fault he never played that spot on a regular basis. This is on the front office for not having real depth. I'm just gonna say it. There's a reason we're 19th in total offense and 12th in scoring. But we're still just a 500 team. It's because we can't get the basics right. Can't run the ball, can't stop the run, can't get solid pressure on the opposing quarterback. And you want to know what's most frustrating? The report also shows we're exceptional in specific situations. We're the best third down defense in the whole league. We've got 7 picks in 4 games. Caleb Williams has a 106.5 rating on third downs and 96.1 in the fourth quarter. So when it's winning time, when it really matters, this team delivers. But let me ask you, what's it worth to be clutch in crunch time if you can't handle the basics the rest of the way? It's like driving a car that only works when you're almost out of gas. Sooner or later, you're stranded somewhere. The report gives Ben Johnson a B+ in coaching. And honestly, I think that's generous for the results so far. Yes, his play calling was great the last 2 weeks. That 19-play drive against Dallas was pure art. But he also had some real questionable calls in his emotional debut against Detroit. And it's clear he's still adjusting to this roster. So, how much more time are we going to give this coaching staff to make this system work? Because, I'm telling you, Chicago fans' patience is running thin. And we're getting dangerously close to the breaking point. The report gives the team an overall grade of C+, with the plus basically just for the recent wins and upward trend. But 500 is not what we wanted at the bye. We wanted to be 3-1 minimum. Maybe 4-0 if things clicked. Instead, we're exactly where a lot of us feared, stuck in mediocrity, asking the same questions, and just hoping things get better. I honestly believe this squad has the chance to be good. Maybe even really good. Caleb Williams flashes star power. Rome Odunze is exactly what we needed at receiver. The pass defense is solid, even with the injuries. But until they fix the run game on both sides, until they bring more consistent pressure, and until we see real depth at key spots, we'll remain a 500 team that dangles hope just to yank it away the next Sunday. Bear Nation, we just laid out the 3 hardest truths about this squad in 2025. So let me ask you 3 straight-up questions. First, are you cool with sitting Braxton Jones down? Or do you think he needs more time to get right after surgery? Second question, should Ryan Poles have picked Tyler Warren instead of Colston Loveland? Or are you still holding out hope that Loveland can prove that first-round worth when he finally gets healthy? And third and most important, what's the top priority to fix during this bye? The ground game on offense, which is at the bottom of the league, or the run defense that's giving up more than 6 yards a pop? I honestly think these 3 questions are gonna define the rest of this season. And I'll tell you, if we don't fix these now, this bye week, we're all just in for another average year in Chicago. And this city, these fans, you don't deserve that. But here's the thing. The conversation does not stop here. This is just the beginning. Because I promise the coming weeks are gonna bring even more explosive news, even more controversies, and more decisions that have the whole city buzzing. And you can't afford to miss a single update. That's why, if you're really part of Bear Nation, if you love this team as much as I do, hit subscribe right now. Because this isn't just a YouTube community, it's a family. We're the fans who bleed navy and orange, who've suffered together through the dark years. And we're gonna celebrate together when we finally get to the top. Hit like on this video if you're with me on needing urgent changes. Hit subscribe if you want to be part of the realest Bears conversation on all of YouTube. And drop your thoughts to those 3 questions below. Because I read every single comment and I want to know exactly where your head's at. Catch you on the next one when the Bears get back at it against Washington in a revenge game we've all been waiting for since last year. And when I say that game is gonna be straight fire, believe me. Bear down, Chicago. This is Miguel Morales telling you, the truth hurts, but it's the only way to get better. See you next time, family.